And perfect. Welcome, Jacqueline. Welcome to Jason as well. We're happy to have you here today.
Hi, thanks for having this session. It's very exciting.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you are as excited as we are. We will wait a few minutes to get started, just to get some more folks in. Jason, can I ask, just since you were talking already, have you had a chance to hop into the lessons library yourself and explore during your trial so far?
No, I haven't. And it was an email error on my part. I filed that email away telling me that I was allowed to play with it and then didn't see it until just now. Sorry.
No, we get it. No worries. Well, awesome. Today we'll definitely get you excited to hop right in. So good timing. And Jacqueline, I don't know if you're there, but I'd love to also know if you've had a chance to explore the lessons library at all. Yes, we can also share where we all are. Also, if you want to share your position within your school or district, it's always nice to have that lens while we start presenting. Great. And Jacqueline, are you a teacher or a support position within the schools? Kindergarten teacher. Ooh, you're going to love these lessons. In pre-K, how fun. You're also going to love these lessons. There's a lot of good content. Okay. Hey, Chrissy.
Hi, having a little bit of trouble, but hi.
No worries.
So Jacqueline, does that mean that you have to, of course, now I say that now I'm blanking. Boy, it's because we just had that in-person conference, I think my brain is just so mushy.
No worries, Jeff. It happens all the time.
Face in my head, but I can't. The name is Dennis Crow. You must have to put up with Dennis.
Yeah, good response.
Good. So I was years ago. I was the IT director in the Noble schools down in SAD 60 when Dennis was closer to that part of the world before he moved to Gorham. And so I met him then, and then 2 years later, I was the tech director for the state of Maine. So I ran MLTI and MSLN and all that stuff for about 10 years. And so, of course, Dennis is never afraid to mince words. So if something wasn't going well with MLTI, he would let me know. So Dennis is a good guy.
Awesome. Okay, let's just wait another minute or so. And Jacqueline, have you had a chance to explore the lessons library yet, or is today sort of your first time to explore? Oh, yeah, I love that. You are an ambassador. Awesome. We love our Seesaw ambassadors. Okay. Okay, I do want to respect people's times. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. And How this session is set up is sort of an exploration of lessons and then time for questions at the end. So as people are joining, if they miss things, they can always ask. And this will be recorded and it will get sent out to you at the end of in like 24 to 48 hours, this recording, as well as a copy of the deck, so that you're able to share it with other teachers at your school, whoever you want to get excited about Seesaw Lessons. So again, welcome to Seesaw Lessons. Like I said, this is going to be sort of a demo as well as then a question session at the end. We're super excited to be here today to teach you all about Seesaw Lessons. And we've already started using the chat, but feel free during the presentation to drop any questions in the chat that we'll either answer in the chat or live. Also, feel free to unmute and ask your questions or share out. And we have already had a chance to introduce ourselves. So let's go ahead and get started. I will go ahead and start by introducing myself. My name is Mcintyre, and I am a Seesaw training and professional development specialist. I am located in Denver, Colorado. And prior to working at Seesaw, I was a 4th and 5th grade elementary teacher, and then moved into a role as an instructional coach and a reading interventionist. And I'm very excited to be here today. I have 2 colleagues with me, so I'm going to let Toby start by introducing herself.
Thanks, Allie. So my name's Toby Epstein. I am really excited to be with Seesaw. I am your lessons account executive. So if you guys have any questions about lessons, what happens after your trial, or just any questions about using lessons, I'm more than happy to help you at any time. And I will throw my email into the chat just in case you need it. And I am not so far from you guys. So I'm in the Philadelphia area, so also in the Northeast as well.
All right. Thanks, Toby.
Great. Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Stokely. I am going to be your implementation specialist. So any questions you have using lessons in your classroom, feel free to message me. I will also leave my email for you. I am not far from you either. I am in the Baltimore area. So a couple of East Coasters over here. Woohoo.
I love it. Thank you both. And then if you missed it in the chat, we also have Jeff with us, who's the executive director of Vita-Learn. So he is here to answer any questions as well.
Yep. And as far as local goes, I'm actually really local because I'm in Topsom, Maine. So much closer to both Gorham and to Raymond.
There you go. I am the one lone mountain time zone person, I guess. Okay, so if you're not aware, Seesaw Lessons are ready to assign lessons that offer fun, interactive, hands-on, and cross-curricular activities that students love. And the great news, if you didn't already hear this, is that you all have access to this premium content as part of a trial. You've had access for about a month now. If you haven't caught that email yet or aren't sure how to really get started with it, that's hopefully what we will answer today. So today we're going to learn how to access the Seesaw Lessons library. We will also explore components, the different components of lessons, and then learn how to integrate lessons into instruction. So we're going to start with the lessons library. So you will find the Seesaw Lessons in the lessons library, and we currently have 13 super exciting collections for grades pre-K to 2. There are more collections as well as expansions of the current collections that our students are loving the most, being released every semester. And then lessons for grades 3 through 5 are coming in 2022. So to access lessons, you're going to go to that green add button and then click assign activity, just like the same process you would go when you're ready to assign an activity you created or found in the community library in Seesaw. Once you click on there, you're going to notice this new Seesaw Lessons tab. And so you're simply going to click on the tab to access the different Seesaw Lessons collections. Then you find a lesson and you click assign. Like I said, we are definitely focusing on lessons today. If you are wanting to learn more about just Seesaw in general and the library, your My Library or school or community library, I encourage you to explore those on your own time. So when you click on that Seesaw Lessons tab, you're going to see this white bar, and this is where you're going to find some additional resources like this self-paced training video. You also are going to find the standards alignment tool. And so during the trial and once Seesaw lessons are purchased, teachers have access to this tool. And here you're able to search for specific standards and find lessons that correlate to that standard. And during our live demo, I will go in and show you how to do that and use that clickable path to make finding those lessons that you need to, cover a certain standard super easy. So when you're in that lessons tab, you are able to click on a certain collection to view the lessons that are included in that collection, or you can also use right here these filters. So you can filter by grade or certain subject. When I'm talking about collections, I'm talking about the overarching sort of bucket. So for example, Blockboards is one collection, Social Stories is another collection around Cell, History Today is another collection. For our time today, we're going to look through Blockboards. So you can click on this Blockboards card to view all of the Blockboard lessons. When you click on that collection, like I said, you're going to be able to see all of those lessons and you have some choices. You can navigate by grade level. So Blockboards, we have kindergarten, first and second grade lessons. You can also click on these jump to and jump straight to those literacy lessons or math lessons. One other thing I want to point out is that you're going to notice that within each collection, we have a teacher implementation guide. This guide is a one-pager that's going to go through best practices for that specific collection. And I'll show you the Blockboards one in just a minute. When you are ready to, explore a lesson more, you can click on the lesson itself, or you can also click on open lesson to view more details. If you're ready, you just are like, oh, what makes a poem special? I know I want to assign that for my kids. You can also just click on this assign button to assign it right away. You don't have to save the lesson to your My Library tab first. So there's a couple of different ways that you can assign your lessons. When you click on the lesson or open lesson, this is what you're going to see. This is the lesson card, and you have a lot of options here. You're able to view as a student, and then when you view the lesson as a student, you can explore the entire template that the students are going to use, have the video the students watch for their learning or review. Also explore how the students are going to be responding and showing their learning. The lessons card also has teacher notes. So it's going to give you an overview of that particular lesson, some little ideas of how to use the lesson, if there's any materials that you might need to pull out for the students to use, as well as the standards. Just a quick note about materials. The reason we do this is because lessons are not meant to just take away all of that hands-on learning. We're implementing hands-on learning throughout the lessons and in different pages of the lessons, which you'll see in just a minute. Students capture that hands-on learning either by video or by photo or just using that voice tool to add their reflection. And so that's why sometimes those materials are needed. You also can preview the student instructions when you look at the lessons card. And then you're able to assign it, save and assign, like I mentioned. And you also can copy the lesson, edit it if there's a little edit you need to do to make it really fit your classroom and your students, and more just from this lessons card. Just an important note, Seesaw lessons are only available for subscribers and districts or teachers who are on a trial. And so they really should only be shared with the teachers at your school. So when you're going through the lessons and the collections and you find one that you think is incredible and it really, hits that standard that that you and your teaching buddy next door are trying to teach this week, definitely share it with them because they're at your school. To do that, like I said, you'll click this more options button right here, and then you're just going to click share lesson. Just like with Seesaw activities, you'll then have the option to copy that teacher link that you can send over to your teacher or teachers at your school. Okay, I know that was fast. So I'm going to go through exactly what I just did, but this time live in my Seesaw account. Some options here. You can either watch and just take it all in as I'm going through. If you want to open up your Seesaw account as well, you can do that and sort of follow along as I'm in mine. Totally up to you, whatever is best for your learning. And again, if you have questions during this time, feel free to unmute or pop them in the chat. So I'm in my Seesaw account. As we know, our journal tab is going to be our first, what our default is. I'm going to click on that green add button. And just like I would to find other activities or assign activities, I'm going to click assign activity. However, I'm going to go to the brand new Seesaw Lessons tab. As I mentioned, here is that self-paced training. And then here is the standards alignment tool. And I'm going to hop into here just to show you a little bit of what this is. It is password protected. The password was viewable right there. So when you go into there, you will be able to find the password. But how you use this is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to select your state. So let's go to Vermont. And then it's going to have you select a subject. I'm going to pick, let's say, language arts, and then a grade. I know we have pre-K and K. We'll go with K since those pre-K standards aren't aligned in here. And search. There is also an option to do advanced options. So if you're looking specifically for fluency or rhyming, you can click on advanced options and put that term into this box so that it searches for the standards that relate to that term. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, let's actually backwards. Let's do Maine. Thanks, Jeff. My brain is Vita-Learn Vermont. Let me change it. Let me go back. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Language arts. And we're going to search. And here we go. What you're going to notice here are we have our kindergarten language arts standards. There's a lot of them. I can search based, or I can go down guiding principles, language. What I want to call out though are these correlations. So what this means is when you find that standard, if you're focusing on understanding and using question words, you're going to notice that there are 9 lessons that are correlated to this standard. So you can click on correlations and those 9 lessons are going to pop up. You're going to notice there's some building to kindergarten lessons that relate to that, as well as some summer learning. I do want to call out, and we've had this feedback that even though this is called summer learning, these are incredible lessons that can be used not during summer. And we honestly, since we're in November, we really do encourage them to be used right now. We had just created them originally for summertime, but we are, contemplating changing the name so that it's a little more enticing for people to use. So if I click on this building to kindergarten, it's going to help my students learn how to raise their hand. So raise my hand game, I click on it. I'm able to view those instructions the students are going to see, view those teacher notes, and I can save the activity straight from the standards alignment tool if I know this is what I want. When I click save activity, it is going to go into my library. So then I can then assign the lesson from my library. So that's how you use the standards alignment tool. It's really incredible because it has that clickable, super easy 29 lessons correlating to writing a letter or letters for most consonant and short vowel sounds. Click and you're able to see all of the alphabet treasures lessons that apply, the blockboards lessons, and so forth and so on. So I definitely encourage you to explore the standards alignment tool a little bit as well. Now, if we pop back in here, as I mentioned, we have 13 collections right now. So I'll just slowly go through, scroll through them. They are all incredible, cover different topics from like STEAM to math to alphabet to My Awesome Year really builds that self-awareness and practices some really important skills, building to kindergarten. And as I mentioned, summer learning, definitely not just applicable to summer. We are going to hop into Blockboards. Blockboards lessons are meant to help students master those power literacy and math standards. And as it says, using Seesaw's quirky cast of characters. As I mentioned, all of our collections also have a teacher implementation guide. This guide is super helpful because it's going to not only introduce you to some characters, talk about the research behind the certain collection, but then also give those best practices. So you're going to notice in Blockboards, we call out right away, best practice complete over multiple days. Most of our lessons in all of our collections are 15 to 20 pages. No student, no matter pre-K to second to third, whatever, should be sitting for that long and completing the activity in one day. And so you're going to see that the recommendation here is that the lesson takes about 10 to 15 minutes for each activity within the lesson. And so having the students complete that over a course of an entire week or multiple days, depending on how that works in your classroom. But definitely check out these implementation guides. And then you're able to, as I said, either jump different grade levels, jump to ELA or math, or like for this, but let's just start on kindergarten. Here we have, how can I write and say the letters in my name? As I mentioned, I could click assign right here and right away assign it to my class. Or what we really recommend is to open that lesson and explore some more. So here is that implementation, or the lesson card, excuse me. You're going to see the overview, how to use the standards and all of that. I can also view the student instructions. This is what the students are going to see. For right now though, I'm going to hop in as a student so we can get a little preview. Okay, so this is Blockboards. This is our navigational homepage. You're going to notice that there are links on all of these because it's that navigational homepage. This is where students are going to be able to hop back and forth between all of the pages. We're going to start where the students would start, which is the Learn, which is a video. I'm going to play this for about 2 minutes just to give you an idea. This video, of course, can be used as a review learn. It could be shown whole class for every student to learn before sending the students in to watch this, or individually. Each student could watch it on their own because all they're going to do is press play. So let's watch a few minutes.
It's me, Rainbow Bear. Well, hi, Turtle.
Hey, Rainbow Bear.
What's wrong, Turtle? You're not looking as green as usual.
Well, I have this pile of papers, but I don't know which one is mine.
Oh, well, just find the one with your name on it.
Great idea.
What? Wait, what just happened?
I didn't write my name on my paper.
Well, why not?
I haven't learned how yet.
Oh, well, I can help you with that.
You can?
Oh, yeah. Writing your name just takes some practice. You have to write your name lots of times, in lots of ways, in lots of places. The more you write it, the easier it gets.
Okay, how do I get started?
Well, the easiest way to start writing your name is to trace it with your finger.
Great idea.
First, start with a capital T.
Okay.
We start our name with a capital letter. Here's how you make it. Down, pick up your finger, and across.
Across.
Next.
Awesome. I'm going to pause there. So the video goes on to teach the students about this idea of writing their name and saying those letters. You're going to notice that this video is about 2 minutes. Some videos are about that long. Some videos are longer. For example, our STEAM videos, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, are much longer because they go into investigating some science that students might not have ever heard about. So it's a longer video. However, this one is that shorter video. Now, you are going to see that students then are prompted to go home, to go back to that first page. And here they're going to have that choice, unless directed by the teacher, of what to do next. And so they could start here with create. Just going to sort of go through these pages. You're going to notice on all of the activities within a lesson, there are directions in both English and Spanish for students to listen to. Some of our pages are going to include more videos like this, where they're going to watch a student writing their name using rainbow colors. And all of the pages also will have those navigation buttons, whether it's going to prompt the student to go next to the next page or home to go back. So here the students are going to watch this student write their name. They're going to click next, and then it's going to be their turn. So the input of watching that student and now the output, they're going to do it. They're going to rainbow write their name on a piece of paper. So like I mentioned before, we're not getting rid of that hands-on learning. We know students need to still know how to write their name with a piece of paper and a pencil. And so students are going to do that outside of Seesaw. And then they're going to hop into Seesaw to take a photo of their name. And then they get to use that microphone to record themselves saying each letter of their name. So it adds that practice for teachers to be able to then hear the students doing. Students would then we truly encourage you then have the students click the home button. One little tip that we'll share a little bit more about later is that we also encourage, because students need to keep track of where they are. Once they've completed one of these sections, before they close Seesaw out for the day, they can use the pen tool to cross off this. So today they learned and they created, and they can cross off. So when they hop back in on Wednesday, tomorrow, they know, okay, maybe I'm going to hop into solve now. So for this one, again, they're going to watch a student make a puzzle using the letters in their name, and then they're going to do this. They're going to use a model of their name to help them make their name puzzle with paper. Just for our time's sake, I'm going to stop going home and back and forth and just click you through the rest of this lesson. You're going to notice here, they're then going to watch someone create their name using items from the environment. So this is where some of those external materials might come in. And then they're going to practice as well, writing their name again, using materials around them to add a layer of practice. Again, they're going to watch how a student moved their body. So this is all around different ways to practice saying and spelling their name. And then they're going to get to do this as well. And we could keep going through the learning. Here we have a connect. Okay, so all of our lessons have this connect. At Seesaw, we really believe in the power of what we call the learning loop. So teachers, families, and students all learning together. We know that it's very powerful and super important for families to be involved in our learning. And so our lessons do feature families and students from all over the country, showing and modeling how important that is. So this connect, they're going to watch how one family made getting to know you name cards. And then at home, the student is able to do that with their families. And then lastly, Blackboard also includes a show what you know, sort of an assessment reflection as a wrap up for the week. They're going to write their name on a piece of paper, take a photo, record themselves using the pen to trace it and saying it as a final, they did it, they're showing what they know. Excuse me. And then here is that reflect included in Blackboards as well. It's going to have the students reflect on how they feel about their learning. Okay, I went through Blackboards, talked about some of those different components. Are there any questions about what I went through specifically within my Seesaw Lessons library, or any other questions before I continue on with a little bit more information about the components? Feel free to unmute and ask or pop them in the chat.
I have one question. First of all, that was an awesome lesson that you showed. It looks really good. I'm excited to tell my other pre-K cohorts in the school about that. The question at the beginning before you went into the lesson, and you were going through the standards, and it was showing the correlations between the standard and the lessons. A few of them had no correlations. Does that mean that they just haven't been tagged yet, but we can see stuff that might be built into them? Or
correct. So for example, like this, demonstrate the command of convention. Well, I guess that one is underneath that, this one applies. But yes, I would say if there's not a correlation to it yet, definitely use that word yet. There will be at some point. We are continuing to build out these lessons and the collections and adding more to them. So I think our goal definitely eventually is to have lessons that correlate with every single standard. Does that answer the question?
It does. And it looked like when you were scrolling, it looked like you were the ones that didn't have specific correlations were the standard, and then the subsets within the standard. So yeah, maybe the numbers would just be too huge if you put it at the overarching one. So okay, cool. Okay, thanks.
Of course. Great question, Jason. Jeff or Jacqueline, did you have any other questions, or Jason, any other before I keep going? And we'll still have time at the end for questions as well. Oh, no, all set. Awesome. Okay. And I do want to, because Toby reminded me, Veterans Day is coming up. History Today has an awesome, what is the military lesson? So this is a great one that can be used to teach students about, what's the military? Why do we teach, or why do we, observe Veterans Day? And I think we probably will have time after, but I definitely can hop into this and explore it a little bit more, but definitely wanted to share that so that you can share that out with all your colleagues as well. Okay, so we looked at where lessons are, and we had a chance to look through the lesson and talk a little bit about the components. We're going to take a closer look at all the components now and sort of the research behind them. So with Seesaw Lessons, students explore skills in multimodal and cross-curricular ways. They share their voice and choice. They see the impact of their hard work over time and extend that learning at home. And as I mentioned, as we know, research shows this all accelerates and deepens learning. So this is what you can expect from every lesson. So we're going to watch a little video to learn a little bit more about multidimensional learning, or MDL, from two characters that we just saw actually in our Blackboards lesson.
Hello? Rainbow Bear! Turtle, why are you calling me in the middle of the night? Oh, I can't tell you on the phone. I have to come over now. I have to tell you about our multi-dimensional learning experiences. Multi-whoosy what's it?
multidimensional learning, or MDL. The idea came from a top mathematics professor at Stanford University. Her name is Jo Bowler.
Oh.
She's my new friend.
Wow, she sounds amazing.
She is. Let me introduce you.
Okay.
All right, come over here.
Hi, Turtle. It's fun to see you again.
You too, Joe. This is my best friend, Rainbow Bear.
Hi-ho.
We were just talking about multidimensional learning. Can you share more about it?
Yes. Multidimensional learning is when you get to experience content in different ways.
Oh.
So we know that our brains have these different pathways. And if we experience, let's think about a maths problem. If we experience something with numbers, but then we also see it visually, it causes connections to happen in our brain. And if we also write about it with words or maybe build something, these are all sparking different brain connections. And the best brains we can develop are ones that have lots of connections going on between different pathways. So it's always good to experience content in multidimensional ways, to see it, to feel it, to write about it, to maybe build it with numbers or words or graphs. All of these different ways of experiencing things cause this amazing connected brain.
Whoa, so cool. Thanks, Joe. It was really nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It was really nice to meet you too. Let's get together next month for tea.
Okay, bye.
Bye for now.
I'm so glad you woke me up.
I just couldn't wait. I knew you'd love it. Good night.
Good night, Turtle. Huh?
Awesome. So all of our lessons, as Jo Bowler talks about, all the content we're creating, definitely we keep multidimensional learning and the idea of connecting all of the different learning pathways in our brains while creating those lessons. There we go. Okay. We don't have time to watch it again. Otherwise we would. So as we saw in Blackboards, our lessons include kid-friendly navigation, an instructional video. There's multiple learning activities, a homeschool world connection, as well as a reflection and assessment. So we're going to take a look at each of these really quickly. So each lesson includes that kid-friendly navigation. It's a clickable homepage, overviews what students will learn and what activities they will complete. And students simply click on a link, as you saw me do, to jump right to that activity. Now here's that pro tip I was talking about, having students use that pen tool to cross off an activity once they've completed it, so they know where they are when they jump in the next day. In addition to the clickable homepage, students will also see those navigation buttons. They're going to be on the bottom right hand of the screen. The button's either going to say next if they should go to the next page, or it might say back to start or home like we saw if it's time for students to return back to that homepage. Or it'll say submit at the very end when students should click the green check. And so students click on the button and they're automatically taken where they need to go. And as a reminder, each page also has the audio directions like we see here in both English and Spanish, so students can learn what to do on that page. Lessons also include an instructional video that teaches students the concepts, skills, or background knowledge that they need to access the activities in the lesson. And these instructional videos, as I mentioned, can be used as that jumping off point for whole class instruction, or students can watch it independently to reinforce what you already taught them in class, and they just have to press that play button within Seesaw. Multiple learning experiences. So students get multiple opportunities to practice skills in multidimensional ways, like we saw in that Blackboards lesson with all of Seesaw's powerful learning tools. And so each activity takes on average about 10 minutes to complete. So you want to plan for students to work on each Seesaw lesson over multiple days. And lessons are, like I mentioned, designed to be completed over a week. Definitely go back and view that one-page implementation guide in each collection so that you can learn what we suggest for each lesson collection. Lessons also include a homeschool connection, an activity that we've designed specifically to be completed at home with family members. Students are able to sign in to the class app at home and complete that activity. And this part of each lesson extends the learning outside the classroom and engages families as partners in learning. And finally, reflections and assessments provide valuable insights into student learning. So now we're going to quickly talk about how Seesaw lessons are effective in any instructional setting. So we're going to be thinking about how can we explore lessons into instruction that's already happening in the classroom. Lessons build mastery by providing students with opportunities for deliberate practice. And so as we saw, the lessons can include instructional videos and multiple entry points, so students can engage with activities independently over the course of multiple days. We do have a lesson plan that Seesaw created that can help you get lessons rolled out in your classroom. It was emailed to you previously as a tip and trick. If you're thinking, what is she talking about? And you happen to miss that, please let us know by unmuting or putting it in the chat, and we can resend that Seesaw lessons lesson plan to you. So these are the most popular ways that teachers implement Seesaw lessons into the classroom. So you can assign lessons for students to complete in centers or stations for independent practice, as well as for asynchronous learning. As a teacher, I know using lessons during centers or stations or independent practice really would have allowed, and I can see the potential, and we know it has allowed many teachers, easy differentiation across students, subjects. It's very easy in Seesaw to just assign one lesson or activity to 3 students and a different one to 4 students. So if you have students who are ready to, take that learning a little further, or they're ready for the grade level learning, or maybe you have some students who aren't there yet and need some more practice with the concept, lessons make it super easy to differentiate within your classroom. Okay, so your pathway for success. We have a little to-do list for you all. Definitely, if you haven't gotten up and running, like as Jason mentioned, just got to click on that email. Do that first, and then navigate to your activity library, tap on that lessons tab, find a collection that supports a skill that you're working on in class, and you can heart that you want to assign to your students later, or assign it right away if you're ready. And then tap view as a student to explore those components a little bit more, get to know the different components and the collections, and then get ready to start assigning them to your students. We do have a website that I'm going to drop into the chat box, that if you want to explore a little bit more, or you think you missed something today, you can head to learn more about lessons there. And then almost made it to 15. We did 10 minutes. I'd say that's still pretty good. This is your time for questions. So questions about Seesaw lessons, I can hop back into Seesaw or the standards alignment tool, anything, any questions that you have for us at Seesaw, we are here for you. So please unmute and ask, or pop them in the chat. I know that was quick.
I thought that was awesome. I think I've been in educational publishing for like over 12 years, and usually I get the standards and I'm the one who has to then build everything for the textbooks and online things. So the fact that I look at that and you've already made this stuff is so exciting.
So glad to hear that.
And I know, like, one of the issues last year, we would build some of like the basic simple activities for our students, which was hybrid. And with pre-K especially, one of the issues we had was the kids would be excited and the parents couldn't be bothered with looking at it. And I think just with ideas pumping into my head now, with taking some of these lessons that are done with a very professionally and with a very nice budget, having those, the parents might get a little bit more enticed to see that and interact. And then perhaps slowly we can start working in like our classroom specific simple activities to supplement these on later on. And the parents might actually do it. So this is really cool.
Definitely. Jason, we've gotten some awesome feedback around directly from parents saying that they love the video. They'll even sometimes sit and watch that video so they understand what the students are doing and how they can support their students. And then also they're loving like the English and Spanish directions, because like you said, sometimes, especially if we're in hybrid or if they're going home to do that connect, it gives the parents the background of what the students are doing and the instructions they were given.
Right.
So,
awesome.
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Jacqueline, did you have any questions, or I can hop into this as well? I'll just go through this, but please interrupt me if you have any questions. So no, all set. Awesome. Thinking about Veterans Day. And so if we're just going to quickly view this as a student, our History Today also have a video that you can watch whole class, or students could watch independently. And then there's some activities as well. And so they're going to learn from Scoop. And then I love the History Today. When I was a teacher, history and science were always the hardest ones for me to teach. So having History Today as well as STEAM got me super excited. And they're going to do some more learning, see some awesome photos, and they'll get to share, which is great too. Jeff, great question. 3 through 5 content. There is not an official date yet. Next fall would be awesome. I cannot guarantee anything. I will say, like some of the lessons, for example, our History Today ones, we have gotten feedback that, teachers in 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th grade have used them as their learning for their students, even though they aren't necessarily advertised as that. But hopefully as a 4th and 5th grade teacher, I always say the sooner the better. We wish we could, produce them all really, really fast, but that'll be once we know, we'll definitely be letting everyone know once they're starting to roll out. I'm trying to think if there's any others. Well, thinking of pre-K, Jason, you were saying, definitely check out our building to kindergarten. And STEAM is right now with our 1st and 2nd grade, but like I said, all of these collections are expanding and do get expanded every semester. And since, you're in trial, if you purchase, then you'll have access to all of the new content as it rolls out. It's not like you don't get it because you already purchased it. You will have access, which is awesome.
Can I ask one more question?
Please.
Okay,
ask away.
awesome. Thank you. When you clicked on the open lesson and it showed you the back end with the teacher's notes of what the screen, and you said that we were able to edit to a degree, what level of editing is possible?
So this button right here where it says, there's a couple ways you can do this. If you save it into your My Library, then you can click on those 3 dots and copy and edit it. You're also able to click copy and edit here. Of course, we truly believe that these lessons are ready to go and everything is incredible. However, we also understand maybe you need to change the directions, or maybe you want, like, one thing I would say is, like, maybe as a teacher, you want your voice to be the one reading the directions. So you are able to edit that as well. You are able to go into the template. When you copy and edit, of course, when you hop back in, let me just show what this looks like, to My Library. When they are saved as, Seesaw, I guess let me save one really quickly, sorry. So if I go to this lesson and I heart it, it's already been hearted, which means it's in My Library. This is the problem with, let's see, maybe this one's not. Perfect. And I go to My Library, I'm going to be able to see that and see that it's owned or was created by Blockboards. When you copy and edit, your name is going to end up being right there instead. So I could click on here and copy and edit it. And then when it resaves to My Library, it's going to be my name that's on there as, like, the creator of it. But we understand that, not everything is going to meet every single teacher's needs. And so that's why we have that there for you.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, it looks like it would be bare minimum. I was thinking, like, within the student instructions, like secretly putting in one of the kiddos' names, and then at school, well, I saw my name, and then something random like that to keep them engaged in the stuff.
Yeah, no, that gets them excited. And like I said, I think hearing the teacher's voice here, reading those directions can be pretty powerful as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Of course. I will not save this one. Okay, well, I will just say, let's see, Toby, you already put your email in there. Chrissy, I saw you put yours. I think it just got sent to me. So let me actually resend that. Oops, that's not it. because any questions that you all have, or your colleagues, when you start sharing this and getting them just as excited as you are, you can direct your questions to Toby and Chrissy. And as I mentioned, you will be receiving, Jeff will be receiving an email with follow-up with the recording as well as the deck. And so he then can send this out to both of you and any participants who registered and weren't able to hop on today. Toby or Chrissy, did you have any last things, or Jeff, that you wanted to share out?
I just threw it in the chat there. So Vita-Learn which is the Vermont version of Actum, for those of us here in Maine, is handling kind of the aggregation of the purchase. So the orders will go in through our website at Vita-Learn, but Actum here in Maine will still do the kind of local billing and things with your school. So with your admins or whoever takes care of the payments and such. And similar, and you may not have realized this, but similar to what we did with Seesaw for schools, the platform itself, the more purchases we get, the more likely we can continue to drive the price down, right? So, you know, that for the platform, we started up, I think we're at $5.50 and got all the way down to $4.15, which doesn't sound like a huge savings, but when you multiply it up, because we had over like 80,000 kids licensing purchased between the 3 states jointly, Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, I think we saved well over $100,000. So that was really good for us to be able to group that up, since all of our districts are so small. So as you get into this, if you like it and you've got friends in other districts, tell them too, because in the long run, it's kind of it helps all of us if everybody kind of gets on board, and it helps to kind of make our total purchase a higher volume, and so it lets us purchase as if we were a larger and larger district. So
thank you for sharing that. That is important.
Thank you, Jeff. I was going to just mention that you can purchase through the Vita-Learn website. So I appreciate you putting that in there. And just wanted to thank you both for being here. And if you have other questions, or if any of your colleagues have questions but couldn't make it today, we are more than happy to help them individually as well.
Can I ask just one more question before we go? Sorry.
Yes,
please. No.
All right. It was so in the pre-K team, at least there are 4 of us, and I'm the only one who lives close enough to the school to have been able to make it today. But you said within 24 to 48 hours, this recording is in. Can I share the video with the other 3 so they can watch it as well?
Yes, please do share it out. I think I said it'll just be shared with whoever registered, but once you have it, please feel free to share the recording, the slide deck. Yes, all of that. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Of course. And we appreciate you being excited to share it with everyone. Thank you. Awesome. Well, Jason and Jacqueline, again, thank you both for being here. We're excited to have you start exploring and get all your colleagues excited about Seesaw Lessons. Enjoy, or I guess it's nighttime there, so have a wonderful evening.
Okay.
Thanks, Allie.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Allie.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.